Hi, welcome to Reacts with Jax. I'm Jax, and today I'm reacting to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I am so excited to see this movie. I have never seen it before, and it is the very first Disney princess movie ever made. It was also the first animated feature film that was ever made, and I'm really excited to watch it with you. So let's jump right into this. Make sure you subscribe, like this video if you enjoy this content, and let's get started. I also want to let you know that I forgot to film an intro, so I'm about to look a little different in the reaction. Okay, let's get started. I love a classic fairy tale. There's just something about the animation, the music. It all sounds so of a different era. I love that it starts off like an actual fairy tale book. Once upon a time there lived a lovely little princess named Snow White. Her vain and wicked stepmother, the queen, feared that someday Snow White's beauty would surpass her own, so she dressed the little princess in rags and forced her to work as a scullery maid. Each day the vain queen consulted her magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all? Oh, who's the fairest one of all? And as long as the mirror answered, you are the fairest one of all, Snow White was safe from the queen's cruel jealousy.
Skin white as snow.
Snow White.
They didn't technically name her. This is very Harry Potter. You know how that prophecy was kind of left open-ended? Oh. Today? Let's hope you manifest that. I'm rooting for you. Her manifestation abilities are so on point. Look at him. Girl, you should like try and manifest world peace. He just shows right up. Oh. She's not happy about that. She's very not pro-love. Does anyone else fear that she's gonna get a disease from that bird? Oh! The bird delivered a kiss from her to him. She gave him a kiss through the bird. Okay, I am loving that. I love this.
Oh, please don't cry.
She's so nice. And you have to murder her. Lammy, it's time to come in. We gotta protect this princess. That is so what it feels like when you're afraid. Everything seems alive and trying to get you. Wow, I loved that fade from the dark, scary forest to what you actually see when it's sunny. Oh, and all the eyes were bunnies. Wow, that is a lot of woodland creatures. That is a very brave bunny. Prey animals do not normally do that. That's more like it. It's so crazy because these melodies that she's singing, they sound so familiar. Probably because I've been to Disneyland before and they probably play this in the background. They're always playing Disney songs at Disneyland. This really does feel like a little fairy tale world.
Everything's going to be all right. But I do need a place to sleep.
That must have been really comforting for people to hear, especially considering everything that was going on at the time of this movie.
Will you take me there?
Wow, they just had animal friends helping the Disney princesses right from the very get-go. She would have been completely lost without them. I just realized we're both wearing headbands. That was not even planned.
May I come in?
You may. And bring in all the woodland creatures so they can drag in all the dirt from the forest.
Look at that fireplace. It's covered with dust.
The whole place is, oh, my sinuses could never.
Now you wash the dishes.
What are you gonna do, Snow White? She's gonna use the broom. Okay, if these animal friends could clean this house, why didn't they just do it on their own? Why did they need her to tell them? And can Snow White come to my house and get all of her animal friends to help clean my place too? Can you all whistle? I can, I just can't make a song out of it. The vault. I wonder if that's where Disney got that concept of the vault, where they used to have their movies in the vault. You could only buy a Disney movie on DVD when they released it from the vault. That'd be really cool if it was from this movie. Oh, they have this scene in the ride. She needs all of them. Where is she gonna sleep?
Maybe a ghost or a goblin, a demon or a dragon.
That would be scary if somebody was just in your house. Can you imagine coming home and seeing the light on and the chimney smoking? I would assume my house had caught fire. You just stepped on his head? I guess that's not the most unrealistic thing to have happened in this movie so far. I love that they're just showing the shadows. That's really clever. I love that the birds are playing little tricks on them. Oh, they're so scared. It's funny that they're so terrified when they have axes. They could kind of take on anything.
Don't be afraid. We're right behind you. Yes, right.
I like how realistically they're acting here. Like they're really scared of someone in their house, which is a normal reaction. I think I'm so used to seeing people in movies who are like, I'm gonna figure out who this person is. Like that, I would be terrified if somebody was in my house.
Did you see it? How big is it? Was it a dragon? Has it got horns? Was it really?
Yes, it was a dragon. Lammy, you are being, this is the second time you've been mentioned. How has she not woken up from any of this? A bunch of people just fell down the stairs and crashed into pots and pans. And she's just like, you know, I'm just gonna take a nice light nap.
Angel. She's a female. And all females is poison.
Oh, you must be grumpy.
Can you make lumple dumpling? Apple dumpling. Yes.
Okay, he really needs to get that together.
Hi, gooseberry. Oh, hooray!
What is gooseberry pie? I'm gonna have to look that up.
Soup.
Ooh, this makes me want soup.
Wash. Wash. Knew there's a catch to it.
Washing your hands is a catch to eating. That's funny.
March straight outside and wash, or you'll not get a bite to eat.
She is really placing some rules on them. I wonder if they got their names because of their personalities, or if they developed their personalities and then they got these as nicknames.
Women. Courage, men. Courage.
They don't like washing? Well, this is about to change your life because being clean is great.
Well, it'll please the princess. I'll take a chance for her.
Oh, happy.
The douse and the sauce. Rub and the scrub. The sputter and splash all.
Well, so far, I love that this movie is totally promoting people having good hygiene.
Filling you up with that stuff called, perfume.
Perfume. I love a good perfume. I don't know what my whistling sounds like. Probably not good.
Get him. Hey,
It's funny, so much of this movie is just about them interacting about really, really small things. I was kind of expecting there to be more of like the pacing and the plot of more of a modern day film because I'm so used to the pacing and plot lines of modern day films. But this has like a very simplistic storyline, and yet I'm still very entertained by it. Did he just eat that? Oh, God. I wonder if little kids started singing this when they were washing up for dinner. Sweetie, you need to get that soap out. Oh, the taste of soap is so bad. If you ever get that in your mouth. Now their clothes are all wet though. That's a really big castle. Who else lives there? Is it just her servants?
To whiten my hair, a scream of fright.
How do you get a scream of fright?
Now begin thy magic spell.
I love all the rhyming, and I love her ingredient list. This is so creative.
Will close forever in the sleeping den.
Isn't there a stipulation that it has in there? Should be in there, unless she meets her true love. Her clapping is so funny. That is so cool. It's so intricate. Oh, you got the butt cheeks playing that. I had no idea this was such a musical. Oh, wow. That worked out very well. So what is her plan? She's just gonna live in the forest for the rest of her life? I do appreciate that this movie shows people's lives taking a different trajectory than they were planning on it, because there were probably a lot of people, particularly in the World War I era and the Great Depression era, that thought their life was going to go one way. And then I'm sure a lot of people felt like everything that they had been preparing for, similar to Snow White, like preparing to take over her kingdom one day, was just kind of ripped away from them. And to see Snow White still finding so much joy and being a member of her community, she's like, she doesn't want to sit around and cry too much about it. She just continues on and lives her life and finds ways to continue to be happy. That's just such a good message. That was fun.
Past bedtime. Go right upstairs to bed.
Where are you gonna sleep?
You worry about us.
We'll be all right, ma'am.
Go right on up now.
Oh no, is everyone gonna be fighting for that one pillow? She only needs 3 beds. Plus, you guys seem mighty handy with your tools. You could just build her a bed. Oh, y'all are gonna rip that pillow. Be gentle with the pillow. No, no, not the pillow. He's so happy about a feather. Oh my goodness. It's funny, I thought this story would be much more about the love story. And it's, you know, they kind of established that they fell in love. And now she's just kind of on her own for most of this movie. I mean, she has the 7 dwarfs and her animal friends, but she's not really interacting with the prince much. She's like barely in this movie. Not the flies. Okay, fly, you need to go away. He's sleeping? Okay. That was one very full, crazy, hectic day. She falls in love. She's almost murdered. She meets new friends. She's got a new place to live. She's moved. I mean, my goodness. She moves out of her parents' house. That's a lot for one day. They really packed this movie full of a lot of experiences for her.
Blood congeal. Then I'll be perished in the land.
I just think it would be so funny if she could not get the spell to be undone.
Maybe an antidote.
What's the antidote? I already know the antidote. But what is your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this antidote?
Only by love's first kiss.
Love's first kiss? Oh my gosh, that's such a specific thing. I always thought it was true love's kiss. Love's first kiss. What if you've already fallen in love and you've already kissed? What if you're like a mom of 3 kids and you eat this apple? That is very prejudiced against people who've already fallen in love here. Gosh, there's so much about this story that I want to know more of. Like, what kind of impact has she had on the kingdom? She obviously has a lot of skeletons down there, so she doesn't treat people well at all. Like, how do people feel about her? Have they tried to revolt before, but her magic is just too strong? I do like the fact that in Once Upon a Time, you get like a much more fully fleshed out version of this story. I see now why this story has been reinterpreted so many times, because there's so much to expand on this world. Because even though it does have this like very classic fairy tale feel, I do have so many questions about some of the implications of what we're seeing here. Also, where is the prince's kingdom? Like, he's the prince of something. He's clearly not of this kingdom. When royalty of one land comes to the other, don't they need approval, or are they allowed to just go wherever they want? And wouldn't he and the princess already be engaged to marry for like political purposes? They all want to kiss on the forehead. Oh.
God. Disgusting.
I really want Grumpy to like her. I love that she kissed him on the forehead. She was like, I'm not about that kissing you on the mouth life. I appreciate her. She takes charge. She is the boss in this. She is telling them to wash their hands. Oh my God, he went back around. She is very confident and sure of herself. He wants a kiss. He wants a kiss. No way. That is so cute. I like that she knew that he didn't like her either. You know, she's not naive. She just chooses to stay kind to people.
Beyond with a harmless old peddler.
If she transformed into this old woman, is it difficult for her to move around? I imagine she would be exhausted walking all through the forest in this ancient body. Or does she just not have the aches and pains and joint problems along with the aesthetic? Oh my God. You're just right there in her window. Oh.
All alone, my pet.
Don't answer that. No, you're never supposed to. Don't answer if you're alone at the house. If somebody asks you that, they have an agenda.
Making pies.
Yes?
You are very nosy. It is a Hitchcock film.
Robin! Away, away!
Listen to your friends. Always trust the intuition of animals. Where are you going? Are they gonna go get the prince or the dwarves? Oh, here's the song I know. It's Off to Work We Go. Although I personally like the one where they say it's home from work we go. That one's a more delightful one.
Get away! Get away! Go on! Shoot! Go on! Get out of here!
They want them to go back. That is so sweet. I love that her animal friends are the ones that save her. They help her find the dwarf's house and they try and save her from the evil queen. And when that doesn't work, they go and get the dwarfs to save her from the evil queen.
Good Snow White. The Queen!
Her
Snow White! The Queen will kill her! We gotta save her!
Grumpy. Save her.
Yeah.
He's riding a deer. They're riding deer. You guys, they're riding deer. Oh my goodness. This has turned into an action thriller. I thought this whole movie was going to be a love story about the prince and the princess. And it's not. It's about these animal friends saving Snow White every step of the way, finding her shelter, bringing her heroes to the rescue.
There is someone.
I thought so. I thought so.
You're not surprised that she's in love? I mean, you lived with her for most of her life. Oh, that's right. You saw her with the prince. Wait a minute. You saw her with the prince, so why would you specifically choose a spell to kill her with the antidote of true love's first kiss? Because you know that she's now in love and that he's in love back.
To his castle, where we will live happily ever after.
I love that.
Don't let the wish grow cold.
Don't let the wish grow cold. Wow, they didn't show her dying on camera. I wonder if they had a debate about that as to whether or not that would be too much to show people, or to show people her dying. Wow, she's experiencing the same thing that Snow White did when she was originally running through the forest, and like everything's intense. I wonder if it represents her fear, because it was representing Snow White's fear in the beginning. Wow, the shadows and the lightning, they all look so great. And the way the water is moving on the rocks. Why would you go up there? Oh, we didn't know. Oh, the vultures seem to like it when you're having a hard time too. So no one kills her. She kind of faces demise because of herself and her own actions. Interesting. Oh, they are going down to where she is. That was a huge symbol of death right there. You should let the animals come in from the rain. That's so sad. They only knew her for one day. I wonder, I'm assuming she wakes up from true love's kiss. So beautiful even in death that the dwarves could not find it in their heart to bury her. Oh. They fashioned a coffin of glass and gold and kept eternal vigil at her side. The prince, who had searched far and wide, heard the maiden who slept in the glass coffin. Heard of the maiden who slept in the glass coffin. I was going to say, I wonder if when she wakes up, if the dwarfs will live with her in the castle or if they'll stay in the forest. And whose castle are they going to live at? She's now going to be queen. Are they going to stay at her castle or the prince's castle? Ooh, who knows? That is so beautiful. This feels very Romeo and Juliet, doesn't it? And thus, with a kiss I die. That's how you know it's true love, baby. Oh. You're taking all the... Oh, they're all getting kisses on their forehead.
Bye, Grumpy.
Are you saying goodbye forever, or is it just goodbye for now? This was a really sweet movie.
Goodbye.
Bye. I'm just so amazed that she spends most of this movie without the prince. He's kind of just there to fall in love with her and then give her a kiss to break the spell. Aww. This is the last shot on the ride, too. That is beautiful. So is that his kingdom? That must be his kingdom. I didn't know that. And they lived happily ever after. Oh, Snow White. I love this. That was a really sweet movie. A classic Disney fairy tale. That was awesome. It was very comforting, you know? It had this very slow, lackadaisical pace to it. It was really more about the songs and the merriment as opposed to having a lot of action and a lot of jokes. It had never really dawned on me how different the Disney Renaissance movies were from the original movies that the Disney princess stories were kind of founded on. This entire movie takes place in like a 48-hour time period. My goodness, so much happened to Snow White. She moves out of her parents' house, she falls in love, she gets new roommates, she dies, she comes back to life, she gets whisked away to live in a beautiful new castle. I love that that castle was shown at the end, so that had to have been the prince's castle. That's so cool. I've been on the ride a couple of times and that's the ending shot of the ride, spoiler alert. And so that must be like where they're headed. It never dawned on me that that's the castle they're supposed to end up in. What is this prince's name? Is he just called the prince? Snow White gets a name, then he's just the prince. I loved that I was familiar with so many of the songs, but I didn't know all of the words. I didn't know that some of these songs came from Snow White. That was so cool, seeing the origin of where it all started. I have to look this movie up and see a little bit more about it. Snow White was nominated for Best Musical Score at the Academy Awards in 1938, and the next year, producer Walt Disney was awarded an honorary Oscar for the film. This award was unique, consisting of one normal-sized Oscar plus 7 miniature Oscar statues. They were presented to Disney by Shirley Temple. That is so cool. The United States Library of Congress deemed the film culturally historical and aesthetically significant and selected it as one of the first 25 films for preservation in the National Film Registry. Yeah, this is amazing. I also love that there was a theme of caring more about your personality as opposed to the way you look. The evil queen is obviously evil and vain and egotistical and jealous. I think it's very interesting that one of her sources of power is a mirror that obviously doesn't lie to her, but a mirror that's all about telling her how she looks and whether or not she's the prettiest. And it's kind of like, how can she be better than the other women around her and prettier than the other women around her? And apparently that's the one thing that she cares about. And I really like that they vilify vanity and materialism. And Snow White has all these features. Like, yes, Snow White is very beautiful, but what Snow White really has is kindness and a good heart. And the reason the huntsman doesn't kill her is because she's such a kind and innocent person. She just cares for all of the people and the animals around her. She wants what's best for everybody. I just thought this was really beautiful messaging, particularly for a lot of the young women who probably didn't have a lot during this time period. I love that Snow White falls in love at first sight, even when she's in rags. Like, it's not about her dressing up in a beautiful dress. So much of this story, even though it does kind of live in this dreamlike space, right? The princess and the prince don't really get to have a conversation, but I think it's a little more metaphorical. Like the fact that they fell in love with each other while they were singing songs. It goes back to that quote, your heart sings a song that nobody else can hear. Is that the quote? You sing a song that nobody else can hear. To me, the song was symbolic of them having a conversation. It is not lost on me that this German fairy tale has this person who's hiding and running away from this authority figure who wants her dead. And she has to hide in the house of these strangers in order to stay safe. And that became kind of an important aspect of history just a handful of years later. So it's so interesting to me that this story kind of mirrors what a lot of people were going through during World War II. And yet I don't think that that was Disney's intention. I mean, as far as I know, this movie probably took a few years to make because this was a huge production. I imagine this was not done quickly. It was so relevant. I mean, I still think it's relevant, but especially at that time, I really liked this. It was so different than I expected it to be. Like I've said a number of times, I thought this would be so much more about the love story. I've heard so much that like the original Disney fairy tales are just all about the love stories and the prince always saves the princess, and no, he did not. Like her animal friends, why do people discredit the animal friends so much? Those animals fought so hard for her. They wanted those dwarves to know that the evil queen was trying to kill her, and it was the dwarves that ran that evil queen up to that mountaintop where she inevitably met her death. Like the prince just basically showed up as a little bit of not eye candy, but like love magic. Like that's all he was there for, was to just wake her up love after true love's kiss. If you've had true love's kiss before, then it's not going to work. This had to be the only cure for this was true love's first kiss. That is very specific. I have no idea why the queen would pick an apple dipped in a poison where the one antidote is the thing that Snow White has, which is true love. The queen was watching Snow White and this prince fall in love. I do like the fact that she chose that. I am also curious as to how long that potion with the evil queen's new look was supposed to last. It seemed to have lasted quite a long time. I mean, there was no wearing off time period. We didn't see her start to turn back into her old self. So I'm curious if she would have needed to have created another potion in order to turn herself back into normal, or if it would just wear off after like 24 hours. So much of this story could be more fleshed out. I'm very excited to see the live action. It makes me want to see Mirror Mirror now with Lily Collins. Let me know if you'd be interested in that. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have the most magical fairy tale day ever. I love that Dragon Lammy was mentioned a few times. I mean, they didn't mention the lamb, but they mentioned dragon a few times, and he was appropriately dressed for that. So thank you so much for being here, and Lammy and I will see y'all next time. Bye.